this is mighty interesting news. Mighty interesting indeed. Indeed, indeed. So Elon Musk has 96.7 million followers on Twitter. Or does he really? The Wall Street Journal did an explosive report recently that I want to bring to your attention, because I think that this is probably the norm. According to Spark Turo LLC, a purveyor of social media and software platforms, they did a deep analysis of Elon Musk's followers on Twitter. And do you know what they found out? 70%, yes, not 7, 70, 70, 70% of Elon Musk's followers on Twitter of Elon Musk's followers on Twitter are bots, fake accounts, inactive accounts, spam. 70% of 96.7 million followers are fake. Now, knowing this, you might as well just hang it up. Look, if 70% of your own followers are fake, and your big claim to fame for wanting to buy and purchase Twitter is to remove bots from the platform, well, you're going to be removing 70% of your followers, because 70% of your followers are bots. They say the average Twitter user has less than 100 followers, and 41% of accounts in the ballpark range of 90 million or more, 41% of those are bots too. The whole platform is run by bots. That's what I'm drawing from that analysis. That there's not really all that many people on this platform. And I gotta think that that's probably true of a lot of these platforms. Yes, there are a lot of people who access them. But you gotta stop and think, how many accounts were open And then people never went back or closed their account. But the platform still counts them as a user. They might have registered when Twitter first started. And they haven't used Twitter in years. Do you really think the platform says, oh, we're not going to count you as a user? Of course not. I just found that startling. I would have been like, 5 to 10%. But when I heard 70% of his followers are bots, spam, fake accounts, inactive, and now you run to get a report from Twitter. Wouldn't you think that before you purchase something, you would want all of the information up front? I know. He said Twitter did their own analysis. But this is a person who tells us they're brilliant and they're a genius. Which I do think is kind of true. But just because you're smart in a lot of areas doesn't mean necessarily that you're smart in every area. Even genius has its limits. Because clearly what I would have done was I would have ordered my own analysis of this platform and said, yes, your analysis says 5 to 10% of your users are bots. But I want to do my own analysis. Look, he didn't even know his own followers, 70% of his own followers were bots. I doubt if he knew this before the analysis came out in the Wall Street Journal. I highly doubt that. It's hard to really define and tell who and what is a bot on social media platforms. So I don't fault him for not knowing that. I do kind of fault him for entering into an agreement without having all the knowledge at hand. It strikes me as one of those moments where you don't look before you leap. And now I think that's why you're seeing the buyer's remorse. He's going to try to get that for dirt cheap. And by that, I mean Twitter. He's going to try to negotiate down now. But, I mean, you did tell everyone it was worth $44 billion. Now we clearly know that it's not worth $44 billion. I don't know. I don't know if that deal is going through or not. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to just cut your losses. It's not looking pretty. wouldn't want that deal at this point. Look, if somebody told me 70% of my followers are bots, I'm like, deuces, I'm out. That's fucking embarrassing. %70. %70. 7 out of 10 of Elon Musk's followers on Twitter are bots. Is he really going to get rid of 7 out of 10 of his followers when he takes over the platform? Yeah, I think this is one of those moments where you're like, I get it. I get it. I get Twitter. And then when you get Twitter, you're like, I got Twitter. What I'm trying to say is it becomes less impressive with each passing day. Then you're going to have to make difficult choices. Who to let back on the platform. Then you're going to have to be bothered with the clownery that comes with letting any old crazy kook back on the platform. The harassing. The violence. The instability. You know, if I'm Al-Qaeda, I want my blue check mark back. If I'm Hezbollah, I want my blue check mark back. If I'm Nazis, I want my blue check mark back. Ian said that he's a free speech absolutist. So anybody who believes in anything they're all going to want their blue check mark. And being that he's a free speech absolutist, it would stand the reason that he would have to give them the blue check mark. You never want to pigeonhole yourself into some shit that's very, very difficult to get out of.